Do I like guys with beard? Or does he like guys with beard? You want to make a date? Is that what you want? Shotgun? I don't know about the George and the Giving Lover. But I can't figure George out. I mean, I was much mystified by all this as maybe you are. Maybe you know more than I. I don't know what his beef is with me, really. Whenever I sort of try and find out, it has something to do with my not being on the airfield when the shuttle of the Enterprise was wheeled out, or something. I mean, it's bizarre. I don't know what his problem is with me, except it seems to be getting worse. And I haven't seen him in 40 years. I don't get it. The ultimate moment of his perturbation with me was they did a roast, or we did a roast. So, you know, the difference between comedy and drama that we were talking about. So everybody gets on, and it's funny. A roast is supposed to be funny, so they say, "You stink, Shatner!" And everybody knows that's funny because I don't stink. So George is invited to do the roast and roast me. But George was deadly serious. And I rode in on a horse, okay? So the line, screw you, to put it politely, and the horse you rode in on, obviously is there. So the writers of the show are looking around, who will we give this great line to? So they give it to George. So George gets up on stage, and he says some other things, and finally he ends with, "Screw you and the horse you're holding on." He really meant it. His eyes were glittering with hatred. I don't know. I took 3 steps back. You know, the good lover. What did you say? The giving lover. I don't know. And does he like men with beards? I can't say. Something I won't say, I can't say. Looks like that was slightly moist forehead up there. Okay, next question. Are we having fun now? Yeah. What you want to hear? All right, proceeding ahead, another question.
It's an honor to be speaking with William Siberia Shatner.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for the years of entertainment.
You're welcome.
Speaking a question that kind of speaks to those years, I understand you were an understudy for Christopher Plummer.
That's true.
What was it like then getting to work with him in a more equal way for Undiscovered Country?
In the Undiscovered Country, yeah. It was great because being an understudy is a very inferior position. Chris Plummer, talk about Gonzo Ballet, I then proceeded to make another documentary called The Captains. And I went out, I went to Toronto, I went to Montreal, I went to London, I went to New York, I went to Princeton, then ended up in Los Angeles. And what I was doing was interviewing all the captains and doing an in-depth interview of all of them, trying to find things that were common. Pretty good, huh? Things that were common between all of us. And I called it The Captains. It's being edited right now. And it'll be on the air, by the way, the same time as Gonzo Ballet. So you'll have fun watching it. It's being fun put together, and it'll take another few months. I must have shot 30 hours. I got everybody. While I was interviewing people, I interviewed Chris Plummer. And Chris and I are about a year apart from Montreal. I believe, I went to university, and he didn't. He became an actor right out of high school, I believe. And so I was a period of time behind him as he climbed the ladder in Canada, ending up at Stratford. I was 3 or 4 years behind him, sort of following the same path. What a magnificent actor, what a magnificent, wonderful guy he is. So I interviewed him, and I interviewed him for a couple of hours, and I have enough material to put a show together that I'm going to call Still Kicking Butt. And so that's Chris and I. And I interviewed him at Stratford, Ontario, where he played when I was there, 3 years when the theater opened. And then has continued to play there over the years many times. In fact, last year he was there, and that's why I took the opportunity to interview him there. And I reminisced with him this moment in my life that was so dramatic that when I look back on it, it's like falling off a precipice and wondering what's going to happen. And here's what happened. At Stratford, we would open a play, say in June or July. And then for the next 3 weeks, while we played that play at night, we would rehearse another Shakespearean play, and 3 or 4 weeks later, open that play. So that would say a month later, June and July, we'd open another play. Then in August, we'd open the 3rd play. And we'd then play those in rotation. And then, in August through to September, they would traditionally have rehearsals for the people who were standing in, who were understudies. Sometime in June, when we opened King Henry V, one of the longest male parts in the English language, and I was assigned Chris Plummer's role as an understudy. So I understudied Henry V. And but we were 2 months away from any rehearsal, and we were about 3 or 4 weeks into the play when Chris got sick for one night. Returned home. I've never spoken the words out loud of Henry V. I've never walked the part, let alone rehearsed the part. I didn't even know some of the actors who were there, because we're always so busy that it took time to meet everybody, get to know them. And somebody comes running up to me, somebody in management comes running up to me that afternoon and says, Chris Plummer is ill. Can you go on tonight in Henry V? Are you kidding me? I don't even know the name of the lady I'm going to play. I haven't even met her. How can I go on? They said, you're right. I said, wait a minute. I don't know what stupidity, what sheer arrogance. How could I believe that I could carry out a performance in front of an audience about your size in a part I had never played before, in one of the longest speaking roles in the English language, that I had only rehearsed in my bathroom. The only place I could yell, once more under the breach, dear friends, was in my bathroom. I'd yell, once more under the breach, dear friends, and people would say, flush the toilet. The ignorance was really what it was on my part, was astonishing. That night, I slipped into his clothes and they fitted me fairly well. I didn't know very many of his moves. I had sat while he rehearsed and played it. But it wasn't the first thing on my mind. I go on in a thrust stage that would have extended out to here, meaning there was nobody in the wings who could yell, once more onto the bridge. You know, they couldn't yell my lines to me. To make a long story short, I got through. And the audience arose, the cast turned in, and everybody applauded. It was big time. It was a huge moment in my life, and when I look back on it, it was like staring death in the face. And then Chris wrote a book about the incident, and he said, and in his book he says, I knew Shatner would be a star because he did everything his own way. Where I sat, he stood. Where I stood, he sat. And we all knew he'd be a star because he was doing it his own way. I never told him. I didn't know whether to stand or sit. So all these years later, we do whatever Star Trek that was, and here comes my old pal, Chris Plummer, and now I'm Captain Kirk, and he's the guy with the omelet on his head. And it was perfect. So we talk about that in this interview that I hope I'll be able to put on the air, and maybe